Welcome to the Artisan Studio at Brucemore. Dan Medeiros is a lot of things. He's a musician, a singer-songwriter. He's an actor. He's a composer. He's an editor, and he's Canadian. What encompasses all of these qualities? To sum it all up, he is the DM Project.
It's only the way that I wouldn't try. It's never the way that I'm lost in your eyes. So instead I've been it's only the same when I'm crying, alone explain when I'm lost in your eyes. So instead I've been doing sweet way, can't follow your reason, sad going
Come on over, Dan. So Dan Medeiros is your name.
Yes.
But you go by the DM Project. Can you explain that choice to us?
Well, it kind of goes back to high school. So I was in a bunch of bands, and a lot of my friends didn't know really who else was in the band half the time. So they're like, we don't even know. We're just, the band Dan's in, it's the Dan Medeiros Project. And a friend of mine said that to me for the first time, and I kind of looked at him and I went, that's funny. And then I wanted to start kind of playing solo acoustic stuff, like finally live, and it just kind of made sense. I'll just call myself the DM Project. And it does, doesn't help that my last name is not like the easiest name to say or pronounce. So I was like, well, at least, you don't have to try and pronounce my name anymore. You can just say the DM Project. And then strangely enough, 2012, I moved to Des Moines. So everybody's like, oh, you're the Des Moines Project, right? So it's like, however you want to remember it, that works for me. If that helps you and you're like, the DM Project, Des Moines, that's the dude. It's either that or, just if you forget my name, just the Canadian guy, just.
That works.
If you forget, I always tell people, if you remember my name, just yell Canada and I'll turn around or something. So that's how the whole thing started, and I started, performing live. I performed for the first time in front of my high school in grade 12 for the talent show, and that was the first time I really debuted the DM Project, and it was just the most wild, nervous experience, being in high school and playing in front of everybody I go to school with every day. I'm like, I have to see these people tomorrow, So it was all right, it's okay. It's fine when you're in a band, you have other people to connect with, and you're not the only person on stage. When you're by yourself, it is a completely different monster. You have to entertain everybody yourself. Any screw-ups, that's you. Everything is on you. So you'd be surprised the amount of conversations that are going on in your head when you're up there by yourself. But I pulled it off, and the next thing I knew, I was just like, all right, well, here we go. And flash forward to 2025, and I'm still doing it.
That's great. So tell us a little bit about the song that you just played, that we opened with.
Yeah, Sun in Disguise was, it's one of my newest songs. I actually wrote it in 2020 during the whole pandemic quarantine. And that's kind of where the title came from. It always felt like, the sun's out there, but everything else that's going on they're the clouds, It could be a sunny day, but it's just, I can't feel it half the time. I can't see it most of the time because it's just, everything is just so weird. It's so upside down. So I wanted to be able to write these songs so you could listen to the lyrics and you could interpret that for yourself and how it can.
They're ambiguous enough that they apply to everybody.
Exactly. And that way, it's something special to you, and it's special to you in that specific way. And that's just amazing. So I never want to be like, this is what it's about, and that's all it's going to be about to you.
Now, that being said, let's talk about what you're referring to as your debut single, even though you've recorded a lot of other things. The song is called Dreams, and you should check out the video. I watched it, and it was kind of like This Is Your Life. Talk about a common experience. Talk about that song a little bit and why you did it, because you did everything on it, right?
Yeah, Dreams was the reboot for the DM Project, the Dan Medeiros Project. It was a song, the very last song I wrote in Canada before I moved, but it just wasn't ready. So when I was going to release Forever and After, the track I said to my producer, I'm like, I know we worked on this, but it's not right.
Doesn't jive with the rest of it.
Yeah, and it's not done, it's still a song that's still growing up. And it's just not at that point in its lifespan yet where I'm like, all right, here you go, world, this is for you to hear now. It evolved and evolved and evolved and became the song that released. It's a song, Dreams is about those memories, those fleeting moments in your life where, it might have been insignificant at the time, but you piece them all together and it creates you. That's why with the music video, I decided to take all that home footage, the VHS footage from the 80s and 90s, and there's a chunk of it in there that belongs to, that it's actually from my home, but there's not a lot of it, which maybe that's a good thing. As they say about the 80s and 90s, all those memories, just no proof of it. And then I had to scour the internet looking and finding videos of other home footage and just watching countless hours and hours of footage and finding little pieces that I went, oh my gosh, I swear that's like my neighborhood, or that's me and my friends. I swear he's wearing the same stupid hat that I was wearing back then, and just all these different things. Like there's little shots of bedroom with all the movie posters and video games like NES and all these little things. And
tons of pop culture references, and they are just like rocket fast. You have to watch it more than once to really catch everything. But it's so nostalgic, and it really takes you back to a different time.
Yeah.
It's got a mixtape feel to it.
Yeah, and I get that from everybody. They're like, first thing, I cried, and then I just rewatched it again because I wanted to find all the things I missed, and And I think that's amazing. It took a life of its own, and everybody, again, found their own connection to it.
That's terrific. Can we hear that one? Why don't
Yeah,
you play that? I
let's
think
play
we
that
want to hear that one.
Let's do that. All right.
It's in your eyes, it's long since time. It's like a million words I can't have. Lost in these dreams, lost in the endless romance dream. Make them smile around the mouth. Never could this distance get me from you any longer. Say things leave when you spoon me. This life will never be same without this. Not just any other dream. Another homeless recollection. One last moment, ever
So you've done a lot of interviews, and I've watched quite a few, and you talk about your songwriting a lot. You talk about your gear, which I'm not going to talk about, but you play a 12-string.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Is that the only instrument that you prefer?
Performing solo, doing any of the DM Project stuff, it's always been the 12-string. Before I ever got to start playing guitar for real, I was deeply obsessed with wanting to. I was one of the kids who would, find boards of wood at local construction sites and then actually draw out what the guitar shape would be and then have a neighbor cut them out. And then, I'd take fish, lure, and I would actually
fishing
string
lines,
it. Yeah,
so you had
yeah,
strings.
I would
right.
string it and, paint it and all that stuff. And then I'd turn on, our Canadian version of MTV called Much Music. And I would just watch music videos all day, just rocking out to my favorite songs in the basement. It was, so it got to the point where my parents were finally like, well, I think it's time he actually learns to play for real. So it was bound to happen. And so I think it was about 7, 8 years old, we went to a family reunion, and my uncle brought his 12-string with him, my Uncle Barry from Calgary. And I didn't know how to play it yet, but he's like, here, you put it in my hands, and this thing was like bigger than I was. And it was a big jumbo 12-string, and he taught me like a couple chords, and I was so excited that I could even play one chord. That was the coolest thing in the world. And I'm like, look, Mom, Dad, and it's just strumming that one chord over and over again. So I finally, when I was 9 years old, my parents put me in the Ontario Conservatory of Music. And my parents were like, okay, we don't have a lot of money, so if we're putting you in the guitar, you have to do the work.
You got to see it through.
Yeah, so they knew what my homework was each week for my music book, and every single day they made sure for at least an hour I sat in my room and I went through everything over and over and over again, and they would make sure that I was working on it for that hour. I mean, they didn't have to really push too hard because I'm like, this is the greatest time in my life right now. I'm playing a guitar. It's just this small little 6-string that my parents could afford, but it was the most beautiful thing in the world. But I always knew I wanted a 12, had to have a 12. And my uncle had said to me, one day, you won't know when, I don't know when, but one day, randomly, out of nowhere, a 12-string guitar is going to show up at your front door. I was 7 or 8 at the time, and then flash forward, I'm working at FedEx Ground. I'm 21 at the time, and my center manager comes out, and he's got this big box with him, and he's like, the package came in for you. And I'm going, okay, weird. And then I look at it, and I see it came from Calgary, and it came from my auntie and my Uncle Barry. And I'm going, what? No. That doesn't happen. But yeah, lo and behold, it was a 12-string, and I called him that night from the warehouse, and I don't know, I think I just cried on the phone a lot. But
that's incredible.
The downside of the whole thing is that I never got to thank him in person. It was very shortly afterwards he passed away, just like that,
I'm sorry.
And so it hurt a lot because he was that inspiration.
Right.
And this second tattoo I ever got was for him. This is the actual guitar. And I had my parents send a picture over. I got it tattooed. And his favorite song, the song him and my cousin Will would always play, was Runaway Train by Soul Asylum. And it was just it took a long time after he passed away before I could even learn to play that. I'd go home, my parents would ask me to play it, and I'm like, no, I can't. That's, that was my uncle's song. And it wasn't until, I think probably maybe 2015, 2016 when I finally said, all right, I'm going to do this. And I started playing it, and the song still chokes me up most of the time when I play it. Most people don't realize it, but I'm holding that back. Just talking about it does. But I got to, I got to put him in here, so I'm always thinking about him. I was talking about, it's got his initials in there. My Aunt Teen, she'll probably hear about this and probably start crying.
Now, you live in Des Moines now.
Yes.
And you moved here from Toronto, right?
Yep, Toronto.
Did you take a dart and throw it at a map of the United States? Because it's either that or there was a romance involved. It's my guess.
Yeah, I get that a lot. I meet people and I tell them I'm from Toronto, Canada, and they're going, "What the hell are you doing here?" Like, of all the places, like, it's essentially that. And like, well, my wife, Natasha, she's originally from Knoxville, Iowa, so she's an Iowa native. We met in the early days of like internet dating, like pre-internet dating. You know, we were both in high school, and
Oh my gosh, did your parents freak out?
no, it was a new thing. You know, we'd get on video calls every now and then, and like your mom would pop in and go, "Hi, oh my gosh, this is so cool," and then my mom would be like, "Oh my gosh, this is so cool, I'm on video." But yeah, we did that and just kept in touch over the years. You know, we had different relationships, different lives, but every once in a while, you know, we just reconnect, and that just kind of happened throughout the years, and then. You know, all the way, it's suddenly 2010 going on 2011, and both of us are single, and, you know, we're chatting on Facebook and going, you know, "Hey, I'm single, you're single." I'm like, you know, we could probably like meet in person, right? You know, I feel like we could do that now. I'm an adult now, I have a job, I can buy my own plane ticket. So I was just like, let's do this. So, you know, we Skype back and forth for months, and then March 27th, 2011, I made my first flight down to Des Moines, Iowa. She met me at the airport. I just remember walking down those stairs, and as soon as I like hit the bottom of the stairs, she just came running over, and it's as if we had been like dating forever. And I mean, this is the first time we've ever met in person, but I mean, it was just, it was like we hadn't seen each other for a long time. And yeah, she just jumped in my arms, and it was just, it felt more real anything else.
Now, see, that's what I want in this interview. I want stories like that, because you really learn a lot about someone. That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
I was listening to your EP, and this is before, you know, as I was kind of mulling this over. That is 2015, right? Forever and After.
Yeah.
It was 10 years ago. And it is loaded with romance and pining and missing someone. So I just had to ask the question.
Yeah, that was my first attempt to finally start recording my original stuff.
But let's step back in time. Can you play something from that album from 2015?
Yeah, I'll play the self-titled track, Forever and After.
Okay.
Into your words of hope, focus on the moment I know. When I can make it good, spinning all around your halo. I knew you that I tell you that I tell you that I tell you that I'm not committed, loading all the feelings I tell you that I tell you that. Tell you